Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So I welcome you, all the viewers, in a very special show in Mayapur TV show, and where we have very great personalities with us, and with whom we have the rare opportunity to meet and have their interview. So today, I would like to introduce you that we have His Grace Vijay Prabhu. Vijay Prabhu, as far as I know, that Prabhuji is the disciples of His Divine Grace, Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And
Actually, I joined 9 months after Prabhupada left.
okay.
So I just missed the boat.
Oh.
Not Prabhupada, disciple.
Sorry, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji has been doing the most important service, one of the most important service in ISKCON, book distribution, and has been inspiring the people and youth for that book distribution, service of book distributions. And now he is taking the responsibility of the Ministry of Book Distribution. And so we have a very nice experience waiting for us. So here we will welcome Prabhuji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome Prabhuji. Hare Bol.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, so right now I have a book with me, Treasures of Brihat Mridanga, that is written by Prabhuji, and here it's just nectar condensed in the pages, stored in the pages, and I have found many responses like from the devotees, from non-devotees. Everyone is appreciating this book, and just few of the comments are like this mesmerizing experience, wonderful, and like just beyond the words. Like these what I have got the feedbacks from these books, and I also tried to go through it. It's a nectars in the pages, the nectar of book distribution. So I would like to request Prabhuji kindly, if Prabhuji can introduce himself much better, the way I have done is a very imperfect way. How Prabhuji has come in Krishna consciousness, or your journey in Krishna consciousness.
In 1977, I kind of went on a search. Back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of the youth were searching for meaning of life. So I was living in Los Angeles at the time, California, USA, and I was visiting a friend. And on the television there was one yogi who was speaking about spiritual things and yoga and meditation, and it looked rather interesting. So after the talk he gave information of a place where we could go and find out more. So I did that. I found out where this place was, and for 3 days I went there and found out what they had to offer. And then after 3 days, if one so desired, one can buy a mantra from them and try some meditation. Now in the West we're very naive about spiritual subject matters, and we didn't know that you don't buy mantras. So, but in America everything goes by money. So I bought my mantra, $120.
Oh,
now
big amount.
$120 now, that'd probably be a little more than $500. Yeah.
Oh.
It's for 2 syllables.
2 syllabus mantra.
2 syllables.
And $500 means
$250 each.
I think more than 40,000 rupees in Indian rupees currency. Of 40,000, so 4 lakhs. I don't know.
Not cheap.
Yeah, 40,000, around 40,000 rupees for two syllable mantra.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the idea is you chant this mantra for 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, and this is supposed to help you grow spiritually. So I was doing that, and it kind of helped me to slow down. I was a young man, 22 years old, so it kind of, just meditation in general helps you to slow down. But I knew there was something better. So I started reading books on yoga and meditation and philosophy and studying different religions. I was really looking. So then I thought Los Angeles probably isn't a very good place for spiritual life. So I decided to leave Los Angeles. But I had this book by Baba Ram Dass, who was a famous American guru at the time. And before I left Los Angeles, I was thinking that I'd like to find something like a paradise where I could live with like-minded people, practice meditation, yoga, and try to grow spiritually. So I left Los Angeles, and while I'm traveling, I was reading this book by Baba Ram Dass, and he says in his book that as one advances in spiritual life, one becomes detached from material things, money and materialistic people and just in general material things. And I thought, all right, well, that makes sense. You go on a spiritual journey, you become detached from material things. So as I'm traveling, someone stole all my things. And I thought, all right, that's good. Process is working. So then I thought maybe the Bahamas would be a good place. Bahamas are some islands on the southeastern, off the southeast of America. So I went down to Miami, and I took a flight from Miami to the Bahamas, and I was very disappointed because it was real materialistic. So much so that I decided to leave the next day. But before I left, someone stole my money. And I was thinking, wow, very good. So practically I don't have anything now. I have my passport, I have the book still, and I have the ticket back to America. But that was it. But at that point in my life, I had never been so happy because I didn't have anything, and I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt something amazing is going to happen in my life, and I'll never go back to material life again. I felt that so strong. So I flew back to Miami, and I did something that many people in India may not know. It's called hitchhiking.
hitchhiking.
Yeah, you put your thumb out to get a ride.
Yeah. Left.
So someone picked me up, and we were talking, and he said, "So where are you going?" Yes, I said, "Well, I don't know where I'm going. I'm on a journey. I'm on this spiritual journey. I don't know where I'm going, but I like the journey." So he said, "Well, wherever you end up, you're going to need some money." So he suggested I go down to Key West. Key West, Florida, is the southernmost city in America. It's called the Keys, little islands. So I took that as some higher guidance. So I went down to Key West. I got a job, and I'm still reading this book by Baba Ram Dass. And throughout the book, he mentions the Bhagavad Gita. And at the end of the book, he also recommends books to read, and one of them was Bhagavad Gita. So I had heard of the Bhagavad Gita, and I had wanted to read it. So I went to the public library in Key West, and there was 4 different Bhagavad Gitas to choose from. Prabhupada's and 3 more.
Okay.
So now I didn't know which to take. Fortunately, the BBT made Prabhupada's book more attractive, so I pulled out Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita.
Very well.
Otherwise, who knows where I'd be now, Yeah. So I took that home. It's not the unabridged Bhagavad Gita we have now. It's the abridged. Many purports weren't there. Macmillan
Okay.
Company. So many purports weren't there. There was no Sanskrit. All the translations were there. So it was still very nice. Not all the purports were there, but it was very. I couldn't put it down. I read the whole book in 3 days. And from excuse me, from reading the Bhagavad Gita, I was convinced that Krishna is God. So I started chanting Hare Krishna. I stopped chanting the other mantra. I understood this is a real mantra, and it's free.
40,000 mantra.
Huh?
That $500 mantra.
Yeah, the $500 mantra wasn't needed anymore. So I started chanting this mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, and I had a job. There was nobody around, so I was just chanting Hare Krishna all day long. And it was very nice. I was getting a transcendental high from chanting Hare Krishna. It was very nice. So I was doing that for 3 days, just chanting Hare Krishna and doing my work. And then after 3 days, I walked out of the exit door where I worked, and devotees were right there, chanting, doing bhajan, 100 meters from the exit. So I walked over to them and said, "Hey, you're chanting the same mantra I chant." And they said, "Oh, really? You chant Hare Krishna?" I said, "Yeah, I've been chanting Hare Krishna in that building there for the past 3 days." "Oh, really?" So they spoke to me for a couple hours about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and they said, "You know, we have a place here in Key West. If you like, you could come and you could stay with us." I said, "All right." So I moved in. So Krishna took me very quickly. It wasn't a really, it was like a little preaching center. It wasn't a temple. So while I was there, I was reading other books, and one book I was reading was The Nectar of Instruction. Beautiful book. And Prabhupada says in one purport that he's quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that if one doesn't chant 64 rounds a day, one is considered to be a fallen soul. And I was thinking, God, I don't want to be a fallen soul, in my innocence. So I was chanting 64 rounds a day. They gave me some beats.
8 hours at least.
Yeah, it took 8 hours. But I was still working, so that wasn't possible to continue. So I went down to 32. So I was chanting 32 rounds a day. And then after maybe 2 weeks, the devotee said, "You know, we have a real temple in Miami, maybe 100 miles away. You can go there and get trained up." So I said, "Okay." So I went to the Miami temple, and the Miami temple was absolutely beautiful. It was about 8 acres. 6 acres was just flowers. And we were sending flowers to all the temples in America for their deity worship. And there was peacocks, and there was ducks, and there was 80 mango trees. It's a tropical place, the only tropical place in mainland America. So all these tropical trees were there. It was just beautiful. And we had mango pie, mango chutney, mango cake, mango ice cream. We had mango coming out our ears. Very good mangoes. So remember when I left Los Angeles, I was looking for paradise. So Krishna sent me to paradise. So after 2 months of doing service, my first service was picking the flowers to send to other temples, and also they introduced me to Krishna's pots. So I was washing pots and picking flowers. And then after 2 months, the temple president asked me if I was bold. And I said, "Yeah, I can be pretty bold." I guess that was the prerequisite for book distribution. So the next day they put me on book distribution. And it was very difficult.
Yes.
Krishna says that austerity in the mode of goodness, it's bitter in the beginning
Yeah, nectar.
and nectar in the end. So I was experiencing the bitterness. But I knew how important it was, because it was just shortly after Prabhupada had left. So the mood was still there. The book distribution mood was still there, and everybody was distributing books. So I knew how important it was. I knew that the knowledge that I was distributing was very important. It changed my life in a very nice way. So I continued doing the austerity, and I thought that maybe there was a verse that I could learn to help me in this austerity of book distribution. So I found this verse in the second chapter: Yang hina vyatyantyete purusang purusarsava sama dukkha sukham dhiram somatadvaya kalpate. That one who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, and is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. So I figured from reading that, I had to be steady. There may be distress, there may be happiness. In any case, be steady for Krishna. So after a couple months, they asked me if I'd like to distribute books in the airport. So I said, okay. So the airport was a whole nother type of book distribution, meeting businessmen and people going through and families, and it was a big change, nice change. Miami also is very hot. It's tropical, so it's hot and humid. But there it's air conditioned, so we got over that austerity. But yeah, many wonderful experiences were there in the Miami airport. I remember I was distributing books one time, and I approached a family, husband and wife and little daughter. Daughter might have been about 7 years old. And the lady, she really wanted the book. So she told her husband, buy this book for me, I want to read this book. And he said, nah, you're never going to read it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
She said, no, I want to read this book. Get the book from it, please. No, come on, it's just going to sit on the bookshelf. Come on, let's go. And she got angry and just walked away.
Yeah.
And the little girl looked up at her father and said, Daddy, I hate you. And the person, he felt pretty bad. So he reached in his pocket, gave $10, gave it to me, and the little girl grabbed the book and went running down the hallway screaming, Mommy, Mommy, I got the book. I got the book. I hope that didn't cause a divorce or anything. But yeah, book distribution can be an adventure. Yeah. And Prabhupada, he wrote to one devotee who was in Australia, and he said, I hope you enjoy the transcendental adventure. And that's the name of the book, The Transcendental Adventure. Yeah. So that's how I came.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing such a wonderful story, full of miracles, full of Krishna's mercy arranged at different spot for you. Krishna, like this, it look like Krishna has already taken you out, decided to taken you out through his books, through your whole journey. We can understand there's a plan for you. There's a plan of Krishna for you already made up. And this incident that you have mentioned, I was going through the books, and you have mentioned one somewhere that you like to distribute Bhagavad Gita. It was like you had some other books and you were going to an apartment, and you were missing Bhagavad Gita, that I don't have Bhagavad Gita. Like you have ran out of Bhagavad Gita, and that person came out and said, okay, I want to give you Bhagavad Gita, take it.
Well, the whole story is rather interesting. I was with one Bhakta, and this is in New Zealand, going door to door. And we knocked on a door, and I had run out of Bhagavad Gitas. We had some other books. Excuse me. But I like to distribute Bhagavad Gitas. That's what brought me to Krishna consciousness. So I knocked on the door, and the person said, wait, I have something for you. And we thought he was going to bring a Bible or some other religious text, but he brought the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, I've had this book here for years. I've never read it. I'm never going to read it. Here, take it, give it to someone that might find it interesting. And I tried to convince him that, well, maybe not now you're interested. In the past you weren't interested, but maybe in the future you will be interested. It's a very famous book. It's one of the great classics, 5,000 years old. He said, nah, I'll never read it. It's been here for years, just collecting dust. Take it, give it to someone that's more interested. So reluctantly I took it. So then we're leaving, and then a car pulls up in the driveway. And I thought, well, maybe this person will be interested. So the person got out of the car, and I'm showing him the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, oh yeah, this is very interesting. I'd like to take it and give you a donation. So he went right back into the same apartment.
It's the same apartment.
With the Bhagavad Gita in his hand. And my friend and myself are thinking, oh, Krishna, please. Don't let his friends see him with the Bhagavad Gita. He's definitely going to convince him not to take. So we're praying like that. And then after a couple of minutes, he comes back and he gives a donation. And we took off. So the moral of the story is, if Krishna doesn't want to leave, he doesn't leave.
So again, that person has Bhagavad Gita in the...
He must have been very surprised when he saw that book there again.
But with an interesting person who want to read it.
Yeah, maybe his friend read it and found, hey, this is interesting, you should read this too. Yeah. He said, I can't believe it's here.
That's so interesting, Prabhuji. And there's like, I was going through the book, and there's like the lots of nectarine stories full of the mallows, like the story that you have told, this unusual experience with that child and that father and the family. And there also you mentioned, before that you have mentioned an experience where a person has experienced an out-of-body experience in the same unusual experience. So like there are these experiences like reincarnations of the or out-of-body experience. There are some concepts which no other faith can answer them. Like if we go through Abraham religions, they does not believe on reincarnation and these out-of-body experiences and all those things. So, but the books you are distributing, they have these answers. So can you share some experiences about these unusual experiences with, like have you met with a person having these metaphysical experiences and all this?
Yes, I was distributing books at a university in Washington State. And I approached one young man, and I was showing him the book, The Second Chance. We have a book called The Second Chance. Okay. And in the book there's a picture where a person is in his subtle body looking down at his body during an operation. And I showed that to one student, and he said, that happened to me. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, I was in my house and I fell down the stairs. And I was unconscious, and my family members came, and I was looking down at them. I was unconscious, and my family members were trying to wake me up, and I was watching them. So I explained to him that that's called the subtle body. You were looking at them with your subtle body. And he said, wow, I never heard of that before. So of course he took a book, and I kept in touch with him. So yeah, there's many. There's a person called Ian Stevenson. He was a professor in West Virginia, and he found many instances of children, 3, 4, or 5 years old, who had experiences of reincarnation, remembering their past lives that weren't very far away from where they lived right then. And they would go to these places where they lived previously, and they would show where they used to live, and well, there used to be a window here, now they covered it over. Then they'd take the one, and there was, sure enough, there was a window there before. So just all kinds of amazing experiences that he found children had, proving this reincarnation. And actually, it's there in the Bible as well. In the Bible, there's a instance of it's said that Elijah will return. It's there in the Old Testament. So some of the disciples of Jesus said, it is said in the scripture that Elijah will return. And Jesus Christ said, he is here now, and he is John the Baptist. So that's reincarnation. Although most Christians they don't accept, but there many do. I have a sister, she's a Christian, she believes in reincarnation. And there was actually a whole group of Christians that believed in reincarnation in France. Just maybe in the year 200 or 300, something like that. And they were all killed.
They all killed?
Yeah, they were killed by the Christians.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's historical. Yeah, because they're thinking, well, if they believe in reincarnation, then they don't have to surrender everything in this life. They'll have another life. They could do it then.
Oh.
And sometimes you even hear a devotee, well, I'm not going to make it this life, but I'll get another chance. Yeah.
Second chance.
That's their second chance. You get more than a second chance.
So we have seen, like Prabhuji is telling, the experience of people meeting who have faced this out-of-body experiences or this metaphysical experience, we can say about them. And so Prabhuji as Prabhuji has mentioned that the whole set of people were killed who were believing on reincarnation in from the Christian communities. They does not believe on a second chance, or they does not want to believe on second chance. So Prabhuji has a good experience of distributing books among such people who does not have a similar faith. Like distributing books in India is much easier, but Prabhuji has dedicated his whole life to Srila Prabhupada, which is a very interesting and amazing fact for all of the viewers, that someone has from America left all the bhoge asware and live a life of monk or renounced order, and why he has done, people are not able to understand this fact, that why you have done that, and that also making them understand the fact of reincarnation or the books of Bhagavad Gita. So how was your experience with the people of other faith? Like you have been distributing books with Christians and Islams, and you already had a background about them, but it would have been some different experience that is like we have in India.
Okay. I was distributing books at a university, and one Muslim student came to the table. Excuse me. And I was showing him the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, yes, this looks very interesting. But if I take this book home, my parents will kill me.
Literally kill.
Muslims are heavy. So I said, God is more important than your parents. And he was shocked. He never heard that before. Although it's true. Not difficult to understand. But he was shocked. But he said, yeah, you're right. Nothing is more important than God. But still, I can't take that book home. So then, I saw him the next day. He came to my table again. And he said, I'm so happy to see you. You won't believe what happened last night. I'm sleeping, sound asleep, and I have a dream. And my parents are very cruel to me. They're mean. They're speaking terrible language to me and just cruel. And I was surprised. And then the Bhagavad Gita showed up in the dream, and it's glowing. It's beautiful. In the dream, I'm thinking, I got to get this book. So I'm so happy that you're here. So then he got the Bhagavad Gita.
Great. Yeah, like people are they are so stubborn that they are ready to kill their own children if they find the books in their house.
Yeah.
So it's happening.
I have a friend here in Mayapur, a very good friend of mine. He was born into a Muslim family. 100% Muslim.
100%.
Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
He went to school in America, And he would visit the temple there, and he was very inspired. He was open-minded. And then he was traveling. He went traveling, and he went to the Bahamas and Jamaica and some of those places. And he came back. He went to the Miami airport, and we were talking to him, and we invited him to the temple. And he liked it so much, he decided to stay
In the temple.
in Miami temple.
Oh.
He became a very good book distributor. Actually, he distributed books for about 20 years. So when his parents found out that he had joined the Hare Krishna movement, they came to the temple to try to convince him to give it up, go back to their family. But he was he had become very attached to Krishna. So they even tried many ways many subtle ways to try to get him to, but he was determined. And one of the things they mentioned was that when the Muslim leaders find out that you become a Hare Krishna, they're going to cause big problems to us and to you. You know that, right? Because Muslims, if you're Muslim and you join another religion, that's reason for death.
The blasphemy.
They tried to kill Haridas Thakur.
Yeah.
He was a Muslim, and they became a Hare Krishna, and they wanted to kill him. They tried to kill him. So that's there in the Muslim religion.
Yeah.
But my friend wasn't swayed from Krishna. So now he's been a devotee for almost 40 years.
Great.
Tara Das.
Oh, like you have said that the determination of Prabhu Haridas, like even if you do the pieces of my body, I will not leave Krishna consciousness. Like Krishna says in
Namacharya.
Yeah. Hare. Like you have Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tata. Once you have tasted the highest taste, you cannot go for a lower taste.
Yeah.
So Prabhuji, I was going through your book. You have mentioned just 19 chapters. A book distribution, the pinnacle of compassion. Book makes bhakta. So the first question that arises in my mind is that you're saying this is an act of compassion. And a person like even a neophyte is getting engaged in book distribution, and you are saying that it's the act of the greatest compassion. And so that's like we want to understand the activities, the book distribution. People are seeing you like book distributor on the road, and it's for them it seems like another business. So how one should look at book distribution, or what is the importance of book distribution?
Prabhupada said that the essence of this movement is compassion. It's like Lord Chaitanya, he is Patita Pavana, Hetu Tavatar. He is the savior of the most fallen, very compassionate. And there's many examples to show the compassion of Lord Chaitanya and the compassion of his devotees. Like this, there's a person who was here in Navadvip, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He was one of the most famous Mayavadis in India. So it's a long story. I won't say the whole story, but eventually, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he became a great devotee. So much so that Lord Chaitanya, he revealed the Sadbhuj form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he became a great Vaishnava. But he was, a Mayavadi. He would blaspheme Krishna and minimize Krishna. But Lord Chaitanya is very merciful. And he had one son-in-law named Amogha, who was also very offensive. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he had become a devotee. So like many devotees, they would invite the Lord to their home to have lunch. So also Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he invited Lord Chaitanya to have lunch. And Sati, his wife, had also become a great devotee. So they had cooked a big feast for him. And Lord Chaitanya came, and Sati is serving out prasadam. But Sarvabhaumacharya, he had to be at the door to guard the door with a stick, just in case Amoga came.
Yeah.
He must have been a big rascal, because because he's ready to beat him. He's his son-in-law. You would think there'd be a little more
Yeah.
friendly behavior with him. Yeah.
And son-in-law like greatly respected in India.
Oh, yeah.
He must be a great rascal.
They're treated like a son, right?
Yeah.
Just like a regular son. So yeah, he must have did something in the past that exposed him to being very offensive and envious of the Lord. So Sati is serving out prasadam, but then Sarvabhaumacharya could see that she needed some help. So he became a little lax in his guard duty. So he went and he is helping serve Lord Chaitanya prasadam. But then Amoga
Got the chance.
peeked through the door and saw all the prasadam, and he said, "What is this? What kind of a sannyasi is this? This is enough for 10 people." So when he said that, Sarvabhaumacharya, he looked at Amoga, and if vision could burn someone, his vision would have burned him to death. So when he saw that vision of Sarvabhaumacharya, he thought, okay, I'm out of here. I'm in trouble. So he went running. And Sarvabhaumacharya, he got his stick and he went chasing him. He's elderly, so he couldn't catch him. But he wished he would have. And when he went back, Sati said to him, "May my daughter become a widow." They both wanted him, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, had come to their home and been blasphemed. So they were both very upset. But Lord Chaitanya took it lightly. "No, why are you so upset? It's not a big deal. He's right, I shouldn't be eating so much. It's okay, don't worry." But they were so upset. And then Lord Chaitanya, he went back to his quarters there in Puri. And the next day, Gopinathacharya, his brother-in-law, went to see him. And Lord Chaitanya asked him, "So how is Sarvabhaumacharya and his wife doing?" And he said, "Well, Lord, they're fasting. They haven't eaten since that incident yesterday." And Lord Chaitanya is like, "Oh, why are they taking this so seriously? It's not such a big deal." And Amoga, how is Amoga? Amoga, he's dying. He's on his deathbed, dying of cholera. So Lord Chaitanya told Gopinathacharya, "Take me to him immediately." So Lord Chaitanya went running to where Amoga was dying. And Lord Chaitanya put his hand on his chest, and he said, "Amoga, you're born into a very nice Brahmin family. And the heart of a Brahmana is a very nice place for Krishna to sit. Why have you allowed this chandala of envy to sit in your heart, making it not a nice place for Krishna to sit? However, because you are the son-in-law of Sarvabhaumacharya, you are going to receive the mercy of Krishna. Now Amoga, chant Hare Krishna." And then Lord Chaitanya took his hand off his chest, and Amoga started chanting so enthusiastically, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare." And at the same time, he's slapping his face. And he's slapping it very hard, not softly like I'm slapping it, but very hard. He's hitting his face so hard that his face became swollen. And he's on the ground. He's in ecstasy. He's feeling, his hairs are standing, his body is quivering. But at the same time, he's slapping himself. He's saying that this mouth has blasphemed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's slapping. And it becomes swollen. He's slapping so hard. So then Gopinath Acharya, he stopped him. And Lord Chaitanya, he's laughing, seeing such a transformation. And he became a great devotee. So this is the compassion of Lord Chaitanya. Amoga didn't do anything to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. The only thing going for him, he was a relative of a great devotee. And similarly, there was this instance of the compassion of a devotee, Shivananda Sane. He was taking a party of devotees to Jagannath Puri from Navadvip, and a dog decided to join the party. And Shivananda Sane, being a very merciful, compassionate devotee, he allowed the dog to join, and he would feed the dog. Now, India dogs, you see an Indian, homeless dog, hut, hut.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody wants to just get away. So, but Sivananda Sane, he had that compassion. He saw that there's a soul there that wants to join the Vaishnavas. So he welcomed. So there was one point where he had to go and take care of some taxes for the party of devotees. So he told some devotees, you feed this dog, make sure you take care of him. And then he went, and he came back, and he saw he couldn't find the dog. And he found out that they had not fed him. So he was thinking he must have offended the dog, so the dog left. So he told many devotees, find the dog. Amazing compassion. Find the dog. He ran away. We offended him. Find the dog. They couldn't find the dog. The next day, they're at Jagannath Puri, and Sivananda Sane sees the dog there with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is throwing coconut pulp, and he's eating. He's getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya tells him, chant Hare Krishna. And the dog's chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He's chanting. So then Sivananda Sane comes and he sees the dog chanting Hare Krishna, getting this mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He pays dandavats to the dog. Not an ordinary dog. So the next day he went to Lord Chaitanya, and he's also looking for the dog, and it's revealed that the dog, he went back home, went back to Godhead. So this is the compassion of a devotee. And there's a similar pastime with Srila Prabhupada. He was on his way here to Mayapur, and he had stopped at this place. It was a mango grove. Prabhupada would stop there whenever he would come to Mayapur. And there would be a few devotees, maybe 5 or 6 devotees, and they would have some prasadam there in the mango grove. I heard some devotees have purchased that property, and they're going to build a temple there, I heard. So some devotees saw some dogs coming by, and they picked up rocks, and they were throwing rocks at the dogs to chase them away. And Prabhupada said, what are you doing? And Prabhupada was throwing prasadam. He threw prasadam to him, and the dogs were coming and taking prasadam. So this is a devotee. A devotee is compassionate. And the way we here in ISKCON show our compassion is we go out and we distribute books. This is the way that we can show compassion to the conditioned souls. And also we have Harinam. People hear the holy name of Krishna, and they get purified. And even the insects, they hear the holy name. So there's many ways that we're able to show our compassion to the conditioned souls. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said the only lack in society is Krishna consciousness. And this is the way to help increase Krishna consciousness throughout the world.
Like for this wonderful the understanding on compassion, and I was thinking the prema, the stage which is not achievable by hundreds of years of penance and austerity, even by the demigods, was given to a Mogha and was given to that dog. And Prabhupada was giving the mercy to that dog. So the same compassion is being shown in the book distribution. And you have mentioned the chapters like book makes bhakta and the change of heart. So I would like to like the for the audience to understand the 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 change of heart, or the change, that the transformation that these books can make. So can you just share some one of those few of the examples where we can understand how much transformation these books have made, even in a personal life or in a
Hmm.
society in general?
Okay. Srila Prabhupada was such a great devotee, a Sanapati Guru. Yeah. People would hear Srila Prabhupada speak, and they would be convinced. In 1965, he went to New York City. For 1 year, he practically had no result. But then after a year, now this shows the patience of a devotee, patience. Yeah. He continued on. And the compassion, he continued preaching, not much results, but he was determined and he was patient. So gradually some people started coming and taking seriously Krishna consciousness. They would have a transformation. Just like the dog and a moga, they had transformations. So this happens by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by the mercy of a devotee. So Srila Prabhupada was preaching to the youth that were coming to him, 26 Second Avenue. Now keep in mind that at that time in the 1960s there was an unwritten rule: don't trust anyone over 30. That was the old generation. So Prabhupada comes and he's twice that age, over twice that age.
70.
And they're listening to him. Yeah, he's 70 years old. And not only are they listening to him, they're giving their life to him.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada says in a purport that the pure devotee does not have a material body because of his being surcharged with a current of Krishna's identical interest. The pure devotee is surcharged with the interest of Krishna, spreading Krishna consciousness.
So this is very important line, that pure devotee which is surcharged with the current of
Krishna's identical interests.
Krishna's identical interest.
Yes.
That's the golden line.
Yes.
Have it.
So people would come in contact with Prabhupada and they would catch this current.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they would be transformed. And so much so that people would come and they would leave 26 Second Avenue with this current and they would pass it on. Just like if there's an electrical current in a wire,
Yeah.
and it's hot. If you touch that wire, you're going to get shocked. And someone touches you, they're going to get shocked. And depending on how high the voltage is, it can go on to 100 people if it's a high voltage. Each person that touch it, you get shocked also. So Prabhupada had this very pure current of Krishna consciousness, and people would come in contact with him. Now I'll give you an example of Mukunda. Now Maharaj, at that time he was Adhikari, 26 Second Avenue, got initiated, and he told Prabhupada, I'm going to go to India. And he just said it in a nonchalant way, and Prabhupada said, all right, have a good trip. And as he was leaving, he said to Mukunda, while you're in San Francisco, because he told him he was going to go through the West Coast, while you're in San Francisco, see if you could start a center there. And he didn't, there was no big plan. He just said it off the top of his head, nonchalantly. He said, all right. And then he left. So he went with his wife and Jamuna, And when they were on the West Coast, they met their old friends, Sam and Melanie, who became Malati and Shyamasundar. And they saw the transformation in them. You know, they had stopped taking drugs, and they had gotten married. I mean, back then, no one got married. That was like taboo, you know. And everybody was taking drugs, and that's how you would invite your friends. Hey, you want some LSD? Take some drugs. That was how, you know, like we say, hey, would you like some water? Would you like some prasadam? So that's what the youth would say back then. Would you like some LSD or some drugs? No. We stopped taking drugs. You stopped taking drugs, and you're married? They were shocked. But you're happier than we are. They were happy. And Sam and Melanie, they weren't happy. So they said, tell us more. So they started practicing Krishna consciousness. They also got the current from Mukunda and his wife. So they went to San Francisco and they started a center. And they were spreading the current around to others. Eventually, Mukunda wrote a letter to Prabhupada, said, Prabhupada, there's many people here interested in Krishna consciousness. Please, can you come to San Francisco? And Prabhupada wrote back, said yes. And they sent him a plane ticket. Prabhupada had never been on a plane before. 70 years old, never been on a plane. So he was on the plane. He said that the houses look like little teeny matchboxes. So he arrives in San Francisco. Now back then there was no security control. Everybody can go right up to the gate. So you can imagine, they opened the plane door and there's 50 people chanting Hare Krishna there in the lobby. And Prabhupada could hear the chanting because, you know, they're youth, you know, they're young, fired up. So they're chanting Hare Krishna very loudly. Prabhupada comes out, you can imagine. He had one of those oceanic smiles. So happy. He had not stepped a foot in San Francisco, and there's 50 people chanting Hare Krishna enthusiastically.
Haribol.
That's the Shakti of Prabhupada. So everybody's given him gifts. He's walking through the aisle, and everybody's given him a gift. And Mukunda's trained them very nicely. So then he's giving gifts back, because he's getting so many gifts, and he's giving gifts back. And you can imagine, he was so pleased. So Prabhupada, he gave this current to so many people. He would send people to Australia, to Germany, to Los Angeles, to Japan. He's sending people all over the world with this current that they all received from him. And you know, this current is still going in the form of Prabhupada's books. Yeah. It's going all over the world. Yeah. People can't, you know, some people can't understand the potency of Prabhupada's books, but many are. And they're catching the current, and they're becoming Krishna conscious. And this is going to go on for the next 9,500 years of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such an it's the story full of compassion of Prabhupada, of identical Krishna's identical interest, the current of Krishna's identical interest. Yes. And like Prabhuji has told, many people in the viewers and who will see this show, and many people who see the people in ISKCON and seeing their like for them it's like a madman life. Like for the people of outsiders, it's a madman life. And when they come to know that they have come from America, like for which they are just desperate to go to America, but people are coming from America and practicing this life of renounced order. They're surprised to see this change. And when we see this change, so what is the force behind that change? What is the inspiration behind that change? Like Prabhuji has said, like Prabhupada had that current, and that current has transformed hippies into happies, and that current has caused thousands and thousands of youth to change their lifestyle from drugs, from uh, bad habits, from life of without religion to the life of such a sattvic life. Like I was reading your introduction, and in the introduction it was mentioned that how Prabhupada was praising one book distributor, that you are involved in activities which even the rishis and yogis are not able to do. Like you are above them, and we can see how this is above them. We can see the transformation of thousands of lives. Like from Indian context, the Varnashram context, the brain is getting blown off when we see the changes it has brought. It has crossed all the Varnashram like limits, and people are transforming into from human being. First of all, they are becoming human beings, and after human being, they are becoming saints, above demigods, and they are becoming Mahabhagavat. And somehow, and behind that, in all it just all started from a very simple activity that you see on the roads with a people person with a book in his hand. If I'm not wrong, Prabhuji, that like I have understood this from your reading and hearing, that this all has started from a this simple activity which we
Yeah.
see on the road. So I'm very much thankful, Prabhuji. There's a loss of many questions I have listed out.
Can I address your first point there when you were speaking? Some people think that we were mad, shaving our head and wearing these dhotis. And so in 1966, Prabhupada asked the devotees to go out and do Harinam. They had never this has never happened before, so they were quite reluctant because New York City it's a heavy place. So they would go out and do Harinam, and one time they came back and said, Prabhupada, the people here in New York City, they think we're crazy. And Prabhupada said, that's natural. They think we're crazy and we think they're crazy. But the difference is, we know they're crazy. They think we're crazy, but we know they're crazy. Because Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe, kamaram yovaramja. See, they're thinking that they're their body, but that's not reality. We're actually the soul within. So, therefore, he even wrote a book called Who's Crazy? And in the book, he mentions that if there's someone in an insane asylum and they're thinking that they're Jesus Christ, then that's crazy. They're not Jesus Christ. Similarly, if we're thinking that we're American or Russian or Indian or Chinese, this is crazy. It's not true. We're the soul within. So we're trying to help people become sane. And it's not easy because people are conditioned to this illusion that we're American male or Chinese male or Chinese female, or this is it's very difficult. This is called the false ego. So ego means identity. So we're trying to help people come to their real identity, their spiritual identity, to give up this false identity. And because of this false identities, people are suffering. The main disease in the world right now is stress. Because people are so much in the bodily conception of life, there's just so much anxiety. Therefore this world is called Kunta. Spiritual world is Vaikunta, there's no anxiety. And the more we realize that we're the soul within, that we're part of Krishna, the more we come to the reality that we're spirit souls, parts and parcels of the Supreme Soul.
Thank you. So, if you really want to understand, like Bhagavad Gita also says, Prabhuji, like I was reading through it, that Ya Nisa Sarva Bhuta Nam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami, Yasyam Jagrati Sanyami Sa Nisa Pasyato Mune. Like in material consciousness, for him, what is the darkness or light, darkness or night? That is the same day for the Krishna conscious person. And the what is night for a Krishna conscious person, the same is light or day for a materialistic person. So, if you really want to just unlock more mysteries regarding the life behind this dress or this something which you are really inquisitive, so we highly recommend that you read books, and then those books will reveal you all the story behind the Krishna conscious, and this uh, how why people are dedicating their life, why people are leaving all the pleasures for which the materialistic person are running behind. So we would like to thanks a lot, Prabhuji, for giving your precious time. It was a wonderful experience, Prabhuji, but of course we are limited by time, and if the time permit, I would have like many questions I have listed out from the book, which I think were very much necessary to be asked. So time is already past, so I have to stop here. But I will just humbly request you that if you could give us if you can give more time, some others, or
Sure.
so it will be a great pleasure and benediction on us. Okay, so we will have a just like to thanks Prabhuji for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.